What's up, everybody? I'll let this guy get in here at like really early. That's very early. Hey, what's up, CDLJ27? What's good, man? Chads, are we cooked? Chads, are we cooked? Chad, are we cooked? I like. That's good. I like that. I like that this is our running gag now. I like this. GME is a little bit cooked. But how about that? How about that little swapperoo doohickey right there? You guys like that today a little bit? What's our price right now? Oh, we're still bleeding. Let me share the screen. It's yeah, hold on. Yeah, how about that? Very cool. Yeah, man. I mean, I think this is the little AMC action is definitely tied to whatever's going on swap wise. I think this was probably some swap hedging or something like that. Right. So somebody like exited a short swap. What would you say? The counterparty closed their hedge. They had a short swap. They hedged it by going long shares. So they would sell. The counterparty would be long. So they'd have a short hedge. So to close their short hedge, they would buy shares. So something like that. Reposition, something like that. So you remember this was January 9th last year. The market conspicuously closed for Jimmy Carter's National Day of Mourning. It was strange, though, that this happened because it was the longest period of time between the death of a president and the National Day of Mourning of any president. It was like close to 2 weeks that they waited to do it. And why the 9th? Like, why not the 7th or the 8th? They chose the 9th. It was a Thursday last year. So very interesting to see that, right? Obviously, so GameStop, we can see that right angle move, right? That right angle move says something like, closing some sort of position like that. And if we bounce over to AMC, right, same thing. Same thing coming on the tape right around 12:30 or so. So this is an old basket swap. That's what's going on there. Very interesting to see that doing its thing. We're still selling off. We might sell off to 21.20. Maybe not back to the low of the day, but we got enough time to do it. We got enough time to do both. Chat, are we cooked? We are a little cooked. It ain't fun unless the homies get some. Unless the homies get some. Yo, what's up, homie? Haven't seen you around the neighborhood, Homs. Oh, very funny, Swipe. Yeah, my some of my wife's friends are in town to throw her like a sex reveal party for our baby. So was getting ready for that today. I built a bed today. Yeah, it was fun. Like IKEA bed. It's good. Did not get to trade it myself. I'll say that. Yeah, I think 21 is still very much on the table. Mr. Theta Bucks. Let's see. Did it move up? Did our overall Max Payne move up? Chart Exchange still has it at 20.5, but that might not be the case. It's 21 for pretty much every other week. And what are we looking at in terms of the actual chain here? So much stuff closed today? Oh, yeah, a bunch of the 25s, the 2050s got closed. So, yeah, so it probably is 21 because these probably got rolled. This group of 6,000 right here, right? That probably got rolled. So it might still technically be here. Because what if we're here? Are these out of the money? No, these are. Yeah, these are out. These are out. Even trade off, I think there. No, it's still probably 21. Somewhere in the 21 range. Yeah. What are we looking at for next week? Up, rolled up. Interesting. 22, 23, 23 and a half, 25. Bunch of stuff long when the thing popped off. Yeah. Some long blocks here. I'll have to see what that looks like. Let's bounce it out to 2 days. Slight edge. I mean, a little bit more. Options placement here looks like it's a little bit more bullish. That's sold short. Yeah, I mean, 23 is long. This is still bearish here, though. That's a lot. At least it looks like a lot. 2 days. It's a lot of bid volume. We will see. Oh, what happened there? Let's see, Guido says, if you check unusual whales, there was about 2 million in orders. 12:07 p.m. that may have kicked off the price action for 12:40. Let's take a look. Oh, this was. Not very large orders, huh? Hmm. See if we can get this page to work. This usually doesn't work. I don't know why, but this usually doesn't work. Like you can't actually go back. It just sends you to the top of the list. Yep, it still does that. No idea why. Ah, dark pool flow. I see. Oh, well, there's a ton of stuff at 1250. Once the thing happened, there's a ton of orders. But oh, we got a QCT too. At 151. Interesting. But can I go back farther? I should be able to. No. There we go. 1207, Guido says. Oh, yeah, there you go. 2 big ones. For 2.5 million. Very interesting. And then another one at 1207 for close to another million. So that's, and then another one here. Actually, yeah, it's really 4 orders. And it looks like it's closer to 5 million in total money spent right across that range there. 4 orders within a few seconds of each other. Yeah, very interesting. Very interesting to see. Dayswag says options chain pretty much cleared after January OPEX. Look forward to seeing what gets built out from here to October 2026. Yeah, right. I mean, what's going to happen to all that OI? That's going to get wiped off the board. And then June, I think, is our next biggest expiry. Let's take a look at the chain. Oh, I'm getting chilly. I need to put the heat on. That's it. I'm in my office right now because there are 5 women that are living in my apartment. It's enough there. All right, let's see this options chain. Yeah, probably June is our next. Yeah, June and April. June and April are decent sized. June is strangely very low. June max pain is 14. That's very weird. Interesting. Yeah, really. Oh, and then next January is the next really big one, and then December after that. Yeah, really look at that, right? Basically, between January 26 and January 27, there are an equal number of options between for all of next year, for all of 2026, the number of options is the same as what it is for already for January 2027. Very interesting. Very interesting. Hey, what's up, Johnny? Thankful to you and Newton sharing your knowledge about selling calls against your positions has made boring price action very profitable. Yeah, you're welcome, man. Yeah. Hey, that's my bread and butter, man. That's the idea. That is the idea. Certainly I was very happy. Yeah, look, hey, that's, I called that out earlier this week when I saw that announcement come out, looking at what was going on pre-market there, it was like, oh, we know what they're going to do, right? And that's the thing. It's like you don't need this many opportunities to really make the year very, very profitable. You can dink and dunk, and you understand you're in the context of, hey, we're gonna do a whole lot of nothing for a while. You can try to forecast that context in the options market. That's the whole thing. That's why I look at the options data, is that this tends to let us know, hey, do we have something coming up or don't we? What are our technicals looking like? Does that support this? How about earnings stuff? When's that? Don't really have anything coming up. Man, I guess we went to $22. I guess I'll short some calls, man. Are they banging the close? I mean, they sure are. How about that, man? Oh, they're trying to get it down to 21, aren't they? Guys, they are really trying to get it down to 21. Who said 21? Who said this? Was this Mr. Databox? Who said it? Yeah, it was Mr. Databox. Yeah, man. Mr. Databox gets I don't know. You get an extra chocolate sundae at Friendly's this weekend. We end up closing at 21. Yeah. Let me go through some of the. Am I a carpenter? No, it was just an IKEA desk. Though carpentry would be super fun. I could get into it. Carpentry is fun. C6, D6, C6. Just wait until you get to build the toys. That's the fun part. Yeah, that'll be fun too. I'm excited. I'm excited for my kids. Excited for kid number 1. Thank you. Cheers. April due date. So I think this weekend we'll find out whether it's going to be a boy or girl. There you go. There's the extra Sunday of friendlies for Mr. Theta Bucks. I like Guido's little emoji there. Dr. Chad. Chad, are we cooked? Chad, are we cooked? I don't know about that. Why would you ask that kind of question? What do you think it means to be cooked? I don't know. Let's see. Bow to your sensei. That's an interesting question here. Let's get this up on the board. Would I consider the last 18 months an accumulation diamond on the monthly time frame? That's a good question. We did talk a little bit about the monthly a week or two ago, but I think it's definitely worth a revisit. So, accumulation time frame. Let's see. Let's pop out to monthly. Zooming in. Oh, too much. Nope. There we go. So an accumulation diamond, like a triangle thing. Does that start here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. I don't know. I mean, it definitely does look like these are all good opportunities. Like back here, these were great opportunities to accumulate. Obviously, right now is a very good opportunity to accumulate. Over the summer was a good one, right? And then this got punctuated by 1, 2, 3 episodes of volatility. I mean, I guess like, kind of just going from the institutional filing data as well, like we've seen that institutions have been accumulating, right? So I guess, based on that data and the fact that this is what our price action looks like on the charts, I guess it is, right? I guess that's enough to say that it's an accumulation diamond at least. Because institutions are accumulating. So interesting to see how much more they pick up. What, February 15th? We got some of that? Hey there, Sellsword193. Says, congrats, just built a few planter boxes that my daughters will paint when the weather improves on the West Coast. You've got a lot to look forward to. That's awesome, man. I'm really looking forward to that. That's so great. That must have been fun building that for them. It's great, It's great to take a break from tapping away on the keyboard and, just like actually put together something that you can hold with your hands. I hope I have a lot of excuses to do that with my kids. OHR says, what do you do for a living if you don't mind to answer? Well, it depends what you mean by for a living. If you mean how do I best, I guess, provide in a fiscal sense, then most of what I get paid comes from trading income, right? So I trade GameStop, only GameStop. And most of that comes from short options. mostly shorting calls, occasionally short puts. Occasionally I'll get a sign on stuff, and that ends up being swing trading shares. But most of that comes from option stuff. But right now I also have a postdoctoral fellowship at the University of Cyprus, and I have a reasonable stipend from that in order to conduct my research. Yeah. Ooh, great. I love first kid advice. Let's hear it. Best advice for first kid: babies cry, it's okay to let them. And it's difficult for the first few years. Look forward to the milestones. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I'm just everybody said, like, I hear a lot of people, I hear a lot of people say, like, oh, it's difficult, oh, it's difficult, oh, it's difficult. And some people, kind of more or less kind of make it like, oh, out of it, And I don't know. I'm trying to keep an open mind, right? I'm trying to, like, I have no idea how my kids are going to be, what they're going to be like as babies. And I'm just here to see what happens, Tummer says, are you doing any options plays going into Q4 earnings? Well, specifically, do I have anything set up for that far out yet? I don't. That's too far out for me to try to stake a position based, I think, on what goes on there. I am, like, based on, right. So obviously, right, I opened up a number of options positions, short positions, going into, I had some for January OPEX that when we got that volatility, I was mostly uncovered. Like, most of my shares were not, I did not have calls. I did not have covered calls on shares going into, most of my shares going into January OPEX prior to this week's announcement about Ryan Cohen's compensation package. And when we got that volatility, that's essentially right on that run up to 22, I sort of layered in, a bunch of covered calls, basically up to my whole share position for mostly February OPEX. Yeah, I have some mostly split between 22s and 25s right now. So that's how I'm positioned. Yes, and Afghan Battle Red says I bought the dip. I also did buy the dip, so I also added to my share position back in that space between 20 and 2050. So I had some cash stacked up that was putting into that. So very, very happy with how I'm looking now going in here. Very happy with where that takes my average cost. Very happy with where we are relative to that. Very happy with what's going on with our options. It's just very good. Very good stuff. So, okay, we're seeing a bang the close kind of a thing right now. Okay, great. Do it. But we're not. Are they bounced back? We bounced back a little bit, I see. Oh, we still got a half hour. So, yeah, that might take us back down again. Needed to bounce back there. Yeah, we were grinding in that low RSI territory for a while. Can't keep us down there that long before we shoot back out. But I wouldn't be surprised if they take us all the way down to 21. Looks kind of tough, but maybe they'll get us close to it, so the 21s don't really matter that much. Wouldn't be surprised. Afghan Battle Rat also says, did you see Ryan Cohen's lawyer deals with mergers and acquisitions? Yeah, I saw the 13D today. Somebody posted about this. Where did I see this? There was like two guys involved with this that had to do with M&A. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think the idea there, and I wouldn't be surprised, right? Why these, maybe why these targets seem so aggressive. Um, I mean, I have to imagine they have some kind of plan in mind for what to, at this point, what to do with the cash. It's now we over a year. Yeah, we're now 18 months since the first and second ATMs. We're going to have that cash, right? We're going to have that the loan cash is going to will have been in our bank account for a year, something like that. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Cohen and Company had some kind of a plan to go ahead and pick up, like they had some business. They have already had a business they wanted to acquire for some time, and maybe the deal is, they've got people working on that stuff. Announcing stuff like that, right? Announcing deployment of the cash toward the acquisition of the business. I mean, that's going to help with the EBITDA goals there, right? So Ryan Cohen, right? Obviously, for those of you perhaps who hadn't had a chance yet to take a look at Ryan Cohen's pay package, right? This compensation package, which let's see, let's go over to GME. Investor relations. That's what so there's really right. So there's really three levels to this. So the first is there's a market capitalization. So the idea, right? And this is by the way, I know some other people have already pointed this out. This pay package that Ryan Cohen is looking at is identical, essentially, to the one that was offered to Elon Musk by Tesla in 2018. This is very, very familiar in terms of, I guess, what's suggested by, or maybe even what Cohen is attempting to suggest by mirroring this pay package as such. Tesla, of course, and Tesla is an important example because it's something that a lot of folks have used as a point of comparison as a possible scenario, a future scenario for GameStop, where Tesla was, very hyper shorted, and Musk basically made it his mission to, extract shorts from the company, extract legacy shorts from the company, and the result was some time needed to be bided. It was bided. Musk went ahead and, once he finalized basically this pay package and such going into 2019, 2020, that's when the Tesla rip really began, right? The idea is that GameStop, the best case scenario, right? I remember Richard talking about this back when he was doing his videos. The best case scenario for GameStop would be something like, as opposed to MOAS being, one day happens and then it's basically 2021 all over again. And we just launch from, $1 to $100 billion, whatever MOAS is supposed to be. in that vision. And like in a day, we just go up 10 gajillion percent. It seems to me that's what a lot of Reddit wants. The kind of Reddit idea there. But I think really the most compelling one and the one that makes the most sense is, essentially what happened to Tesla, which is slow ass, right? Not mo ass, but slow ass, which is a slow squeeze where eventually the shorts actually have to give in, right? You get enough institutional longs on your side. And over the course of a couple years, right? Okay, the stock really rips, and then it becomes a media darling, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then it gets into the big leagues. So something like that, right, would make sense. You'll remember as well that Elon Musk did something very, very similar with respect to the company in terms of Bitcoin acquisitions. Also, right, Musk put $1 billion into Bitcoin as a treasury reserve asset, I think around 2020. So I think he did that after this pay package bit was lined up. The difference, of course, between GameStop and Tesla, of course, was GameStop is now leveraged. It's not even at 2 to 1. Yeah, it's like 1.8 to 1 or 1.7 to 1. It's not even at 2 to 1 leverage, but Musk had a debt structure in place for Tesla that put it at something like 4 or 5 to 1 leverage. So it was in a very different capital based situation, but it does seem that's what Ryan Cohen and company are going for here, that they are trying to find a way to make that type of I don't know how else you kind of come out with this kind of idea for what will happen to the company over a 10-year period. And now, why do I say 10-year period? Well, because this pay package has to take place. These benchmarks have to be hit within a 10-year period. So every $1 billion, is it every $1 billion? No, every $10 billion of market cap added to the company, and every $1 billion in cumulative EBITDA is added, results in the unlocking of another tranche of the pay package, all the way up to 100 billion. And this is voided after 10 years. So whatever isn't achieved in 10 years, that's voided. So, for example, if the stock only doubles, that only unlocks tranche 1. And if it takes 10 years to do that, then the other 9 tranches or 8 tranches are gone. They're no longer valid, interestingly. Time goes by fast with kids. Yeah. Johto J Day. Difficult. Nothing beat dopamine. My kids running up to me when I come. Yeah. I'm excited for that. Very excited for that. I'm glad to have so many experienced dads though along the way here. We'll see how that affects. We'll see how that affects my alertness when it comes time for live streams. Stock's high. Glad you're still in the GME story. Hopefully you don't ditch us like Newton the moment you become a millionaire. Well, yeah, I think with Richard, right, he actually, he was making videos for a long time while his account values were actually well over $1 million. Richard made videos for maybe 8 months while his accounts were in the multi-millions. I'm pretty sure when his account values total were in the multi-millions, I think he went on making videos for a full year. I think he just reached, I don't know. He doesn't strike me as a particularly extroverted guy. I just think he reached the end of the line with what he wanted to do with his videos. And so he decided he wanted to walk away from the channel. But yeah, I am still in on the story and trying to make sense of what's going on. Certainly happy to be talking to you guys and to have the opportunity to continue to learn and figure out what's going on here. So cheers for that. Char Chief says sleep deprivation with kids is the toughest part the first few months, but you already got that down with the time zone difference. Congrats, man. Yeah, everybody says that. Everybody says sleep deprivation. I don't know. I'll probably be tired, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Great Babe says he picked up a June 19, $21 call. Oh, long. Oh, careful. I'm not saying it's not going to work, but just careful out there, man. Anything on the long side, I just, start to get a little antsy. That's all I'm saying. Mr. Theta Buck says kids are amazing. 2 life-changing books I've read. Yep, 5 Love Languages by Chapman is good. Baby Wise for the newborn phase. Interesting. I'm going to make a note of that. Another recommendation I got was The Womanly Art of Breastfeeding. Anybody read that? Womanly Art of Breastfeeding. I'm sure somebody out there has read it. Yeah, I like the investment analogy. That's cool. I'll keep that in mind. Very fun, man. I'm excited for the adventure. Petard Vasilev says price action like the Lego GameStop store meme. Is it the one with the you are here? Is it this one? Oh, this is fun. I like that there's an 8. Oh, is it not here? Where is it? No. Is it this one? This one? On the right? Remember? Guys, remember with this thing on the right? Remember back when like in late 2020 was that? I guess that was late 2021. That's where that chart comes from. Remember when that was on the table? Those were good times. We can throw in a little chat. Are we cooked? You did miss some. You did miss some. There were some at the beginning. And then it had some variations like Chad, are we cooked? There you go, with the green marker. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, so that's essentially the spirit of the slow ass. Although if this is a log scale chart, that's not very slow. But yeah, I like that one. I like that one a lot. That's very good. Chad, are we cooked? Hadouken. Ilonda Swindler. It's a great name. Just have to wake up every 3 hours to feed the kids and other needs for a few months. We can do that. Chat. We can do that. That doesn't sound like chat. We can do 3 hours. We can take 3 hour breaks to feed the kids. That's not going to cook us. Ooh, interesting. C6D6 C6 says on that invest in some sleep training resources. If it doesn't click naturally, best money I've ever spent. My 2.5-year-old sleeps 12 hours without a peep. Yeah, that sounds dope. I'm definitely down for 12 hours sleeping. That sounds awesome. Alana says, I hope you take your kids to a real school versus a church school. Um, yeah, I don't know yet what I'm going to do for schooling. I don't know what you mean by a real school. I think there are some very good church schools. I think there are some religiously affiliated schools that may not be as good. Um, I myself went to a lot of different schools when I was young. I went to two different religiously affiliated schools. Um, yeah, I mean they had their pluses and minuses. I can imagine where if you are connected to the particular community that particular religious school is attached to, then that's an extra connection for you. Um, there's certain I think there are certain public schools, right? So town by town basis, public schools can be great. Like I come from Connecticut. There are towns I remember where public schools in Connecticut, certain towns were amazing, other towns not so much, and it wasn't necessarily always connected to funding either. Um, yep. And then I also went to in high school. I went to a private high school that was not religiously affiliated. But I don't know. I think I like the idea. I was talking to some of my friends. Anybody's kids, we can do. Yeah, hands up here. Anybody try Montessori schools? I heard Montessori schools really slap. That sounds really good. I like the idea of Montessori schools. I like the idea of kind of like homeschool co-op stuff. I've been really interested in that for a while. I've taught at like an online homeschool like supplementation academy before, and I mean, um, I really liked that as like a homeschool supplement thing, and the kids seem to really like it. One thing I also noticed about homeschool kids is like homeschool kids love learning. They think it's the best thing. It's so awesome. And like, I remember too, like basically no matter what school I was in, like, my mom went to public school and she was like, I have to find different kinds of schools to send my son so that, because I hated public school, this is her speaking. And so I want to make sure he doesn't have that. But like, I think a lot of the issues, whatever they happen to be, with school, I think are just a product of like, hey, you go here, you sit down at this desk for 8 hours a day, and that's your day, and that's your life. Um, and it doesn't have to be like that. So we haven't figured out the education question yet, but we are thinking about it. If we get Gameshire, Stopaway, what is RC going to buy? That's a great question. One thing that would be super fun is if he invested in something like TikTok. I mean, if he buys a piece of TikTok, if he's part of the TikTok investor group, that could be fun. One thing that's really exciting to me is that I just, have kind of been following more recently is all the stuff Palmer Luckey is doing, right? So Palmer Luckey apparently founded Mod Retro as for funsies, I guess. He was just like, let's remake the Game Boy. Let's just do it. So Mod Retro is Palmer Luckey, who runs Underreal. And there's a real chance, I think, that just seeing the tweets from Trump and co dropped about divesting U.S. defense interests from Raytheon, which would be very interesting. Thinking about tripling the Department of Defense budget, or I guess now it's the Department of War budget, from $500 billion to $1.5 trillion, which would be. Listen, if you're figuring stuff out with Palmer Luckey, you've got U.S. defense budget is getting an extra $1 trillion a year, and Palmer Luckey, and you've got the White House basically saying these legacy defense contractors, we're I don't know, they're not really delivering in the way that we would like them to. They're kind of too interested in CEO kickbacks, and they're not really focusing in the way they should on on actual defense and manufacturing and things like this. So Palmer Luckey is for those of you guys that don't know stuff about Underreal is so cool. Underreal basically looks at the existing U.S. manufacturing infrastructure based on how the U.S. was able to ready itself to fight World War II, and how other places, right, like Japan was. So if you guys play Hearts of Iron 4, this is something that you can do later in the game. And that's the idea of converting your civilian infrastructure into military infrastructure, right? Converting the, let's say, factories that you use in order to produce things like cars or radios, televisions, whatever, consumer goods, to convert those into things that can produce military equipment. So, for example, right, the landing boats that were absolutely essential for the United States to wage war, both in the Pacific and in Europe, right? It's because any United States military force, in order to get to where it had to go, it had to be able to, conduct amphibious combat operations. And so, they went to the Higgins Boat Company, which made river boats on the bayou in Louisiana. And the U.S. government was just like, can you build us 500,000 of these boats, but make them armored, and they got to be able to, guys have got to be able to get off of them, and they're like, yeah, we can do that, right? So Underreal is trying to preempt that, in the sense of they're trying to already go ahead and look at the civilian, right, not in wartime, go ahead and look at the civilian infrastructure of the United States and say, okay, how can we totally overhaul U.S. weapon systems so that Ford can build missiles, so that GM can turn out tanks, so that whoever it is can turn out aircraft and various weapons and infantry equipment and things like this. And how can we do that at scale? Because that's really, in a way, right, that's how the United States was able to overwhelm the Axis powers, but was by just the same. Actually, the Soviet Union did this too. The Soviet Union and the United States, in fact, a large part of the Soviet Union's industrial capacity was boosted by the Lend-Lease program by the United States. But it was basically even before the U.S. kind of directly entered the war, the U.S. was just like, we're just going to convert as fast as we can. We're going to convert our civilian infrastructure to just mass producing so many weapons. And basically, in all theaters of war, what the U.S. was able to do was get equipment up to a quality that was high enough, but just in quantity totally overwhelm in terms of industrial production what anyone else could do. Yeah, so Palmer Luckey and Underhill are basically like, we're gonna do that, but we're gonna get the United States ready to do that essentially now as a form of preparedness. And if they get some kind of contract from Trump and co from the White House, like, very interesting. Would be very interesting then for GameStop to reveal, like, oh, by the way, we don't just have Mod Retro. We also fund Onduril or something like that. That'd be really cool. So I would be very into that. I would be very into GameStop acquiring like $1 billion stake in Onduril. And this is the thing. This is the thing about GameStop that's really cool. Like, they're a publicly traded company, but they don't have to acquire only publicly traded companies. So they can do, private equity deals. They can acquire businesses. They can acquire stuff that nobody else has access to. They can do exclusive stuff, right? And it doesn't have to be in games. In fact, it's probably not going to be in games, as I understand it. Maybe it will. Very cool stuff potentially coming up. Do you think you can do a video explaining your strategy of selling covered calls, or if you have time on the stream? Yeah, for sure. I mean, definitely go back, take a look at prior streams. I think we talk about this and earlier videos as well. But I'll take some time just to kind of outline this, because I know like sometimes this gets lost. Like, I'm still meaning, once I have some time, I'd like to like put together really like a kind of just pick it up kind of basic course to sort of teach these principles. Just put that for free out on YouTube so that when people come to the channel and stuff, they can just go to this, and then it's like 10 videos, and you can just go through these 10 videos and kind of understand the basics of these concepts. But I'll take a few moments just to say basically what I target, right? We talked about this last week, Tomer, insofar as like, okay, so when we're going into a particular week, or we're looking, a big reason, a large part of why I am taking a look at our options data on a regular basis is I'm trying to understand where institutions, where market makers are positioned in terms of the options chain. And then there's an axiom, right? Some of this relies on uncertain axioms. But the axiom is this, and it's that the options market maker is going to be optimally profitable, right? The options market maker is going to be optimally actually, let me share this instead. Get the right image up here. The options market maker is going to be optimally profitable when the stock is closing at a maximum profitability point. And there are a couple different ways of estimating what that maximum profitability point is going to be. One of them, which is one that most people tend to be more familiar with, is max pain. The max pain point is usually derived just from looking at pure OI numbers. So this is just looking at the number of contracts that are available, that are out there. And assuming that just below or at that price point is going to be the maximum pain point. Obviously, that doesn't quite take into account things like, volatility at the time that the contracts were open, right? There are various other factors that don't really play into this. So what I will compare with that, say just those OI numbers, is I'll compare OI max pain with gamma, right? With market maker gamma exposure. And I found that market maker gamma exposure in particular tends to be a bit, people enough times will say something like max pain is confirmation bias. It doesn't always work out that way, et cetera, et cetera. Max pain is very good. Market maker call gamma exposure is a bit better, I would say. And what I look for in terms of this is on any given week, I look for the largest position, the largest position of net call gamma accumulation. So if we look, for example, you can look at composite stuff and you can say, okay, well, right now across all of our expiries, $21 is our net call gamma call wall right now. This means that this is the position where the greatest rate of change of delta occurs with respect to the underlying stock. So you'll find that the price will often hover within this position, very close to it. Traders will take advantage of this, right? Because when we move really close to this and then move away from it, it's going to cause the most profound changes in the pricing of the options contract. So you're going to have the greatest change in delta when you are very close to this position. But it also means that, right, for market makers, although they practice dynamic hedging, the idea is that closing below this mark means that you're generally, that's where you're going to see something like the majority, right? Not only the majority of options, but the majority of say volatility premiums taken into account with how this works. So the options market maker is going to be most profitable on any given week when we close below that particular mark. So for example, we look at this week, what was it? 21. Okay, we had another big position right up there, 21.5. So we're a little higher than that, a little bit, right? Because we closed at 21.23, looks like where we ended things for this week. So a little bit above that, not too far off of it. But basically, right, that says, okay, that's where the majority of options are going to close out of the money. So what I will do is I will say, okay, I will look to where we get close to, say, one of these particular, if we have price action that takes us close to the call wall, I'll try to find out, hey, okay, where are these moments where we may see things like what Richard Newton has called T+33, the Bernoulli kind of formula of settlement, things like this. And so usually you'll see something like, I think it's usually called OPEX tailwind. So you assume that there's going to be some sort of settlement that has to happen with respect to OPEXs, especially. Weeklies can matter, but they tend to be very small, so it tends not to have that much of an impact. But OPEX tends to have a lot of contracts on it. So you can have OPEX tailwind where market makers will kick their settlement obligations out T+6 plus C35 plus or plus 1 up to 4, which Richard Newton simplified to T+33. It's not really T+33. And even he acknowledged that. He said it's T+33 plus or minus 2. So, but the idea is you have T+6, so you have 6 trading days, then you have 35 calendar days. Then if you just did it as a conventional FTD, then you have T+1 is when you cover that, when you close that position. T+4 if it's related to an ETF. So you buy yourself an extra 4 days if you're going through an ETF, extended liquidity bid there. Okay. So you try to look for these bits. You try to anticipate, say, cycles with respect to the price. But the idea is what I do on a regular basis is as long as I'm not expecting us, oh, hey, we're going into a big upcycle, we're going to have some volatility, we're going to start moving to the upside. I will look for, I'll basically target where our call wall happens to be, and I will sell calls at that call wall, given that greater than 90% of the time, I think it's even greater than 95% of the time in my experience, trading GameStop. I mean, we're talking, my experience is probably close to probably 80 or 90 expiries at this point. I think I've only ever seen one expiry, one options expiry, and I think it was this past quarter. Is this past quarter two earnings? It was after quarter two earnings. I've only seen one where the week closes above the market maker call gamma, call gamma exposure, call wall. Only one. So yeah, that's approaching 99% in terms of how often that trade works. Now, obviously, you want to try to get the best out of that. You'll have more success with it, obviously, the closer you kind of walk in where you're selling those options. It sucks, right? If you sell that too early and then you go into a volatility event. So I try to kind of layer them, right? So I try to say, if I think some kind of a volatility event is coming, I'll kind of lay off. I'll kind of hang back. If I think we're just in the doldrums, and for example, last summer, like after we kind of came out of July OPEX, I was like, all right, dudes, we are going flat into, maybe we have some little stuff there if we get some, something going on. But, and I was just like, okay, sell August OPEX, whatever, 25s, and just coast. Right now, okay, so going into this particular trade, I don't think we see very much movement on the stock. Maybe we get a little volatility in February. I think maybe what we kind of saw this week, besides this swap related thing today, I think maybe we also saw something like, initially I said the 12.3 FTDs. I think it's probably more likely it's November OPEX FTDs. So if we take a look at, I don't know how closely you guys track these things, but if we go to, where would it be? It's under shorts, I think. Yeah, I mean, we had quite a few rolling FTDs here going into November OPEX. So we had this stuff, but let's see something like XRT. Yep, bunch of XRT FTDs going into November OPEX. So we had GME FTDs a little bit earlier, and then some of it kind of surfaced right before OPEX. On OPEX itself, we have a few, some solid piles of XRT FTDs. This 12.2, 12.3 stuff, right, also have a batch there, 12.2. So 12.2, 12.3. So these are probably going to hit right after OPEX, is my guess. If these came in today, that puts us, yeah, maybe right after OPEX. What else do we want to look at? We want to look at GMEU. GMU after OPEX, not a lot. But this is 2x leverage, so I guess it can count in lieu of 2 times this. But some of that after GMY. Not a lot here. But it also had some around 12.3. That's interesting. GME. Not very much. What are our other favorite ones? Anybody have more favorite ones they look at here? Oh man, I'm getting behind on chat. Anyway, I think there might be more of that. But my point of this is saying, like, to look out and try to figure out where we're going to have these episodes of volatility. Obviously, you don't want to get caught in these. But if you see one of these, if you do happen to have the opportunity, you can see, right. So you're going to see things like this are going to take us really close to the call wall. And if you find yourself like kind of at the call wall, over the call wall, so it's been 22 for all right now, it's 21, but right earlier this week it was at 22, and I was like, okay, if we see, we're going to go to 22. When we get to 22, it's going to reverse back to the downside. Traders are going to come in and sell a bunch of vol. That is exactly what happened. If you know where that point is, it's like it's hard to predict, let's say, when the volatility is going to show up. And so a lot of the time, I would say for me, it comes down to just kind of being ready for that to happen, kind of ballparking. We've got like a 4 or 5 day range where maybe we see something like that. And a lot of that is just context clues for me. Hey, we're in a low season. I don't think we're going to see massive volatility prior to March earnings. It's too early for that kind of stuff. We're trading around 2050, so maybe we start moving back to the upside. Why? Well, we don't really have that much farther down to go, so it's hard to make money off of that unless you have to move a swap or something. It's like to save your ass. So, all right, this is a season where we might see something like that. So a dollar move is really going to stir up options a lot. And so, prior to that, I was like, all right, well, I don't want to come away empty-handed. So let me go ahead and sell some. Let me sell some. So I think I sold like January 22s on like a mix of January 22s and Feb 25s on like 20% of my position. And I just kind of held that. And then once I saw that moment, right, once we got that setup, it was like, okay, the volatility is going to come. It's already here pre-market. We're going to see it during the day, and then we work into this position with the understanding that as we go to that call gamma call X wall, right? As we approach that, as soon as we get to that point, gamma maxes out right at that spot, which means the rate at which market makers are purchasing shares to build that, to hedge that position starts to go down. Right? The rate of change of delta slows. And so traders are going to take that opportunity. They're going to see the volatility as a result of gamma spike right when we get to that point. and they're just going to sell. They're going to sell it very hard. And then other let's say people who want to short the stock are going to come in because they know volatility traders are going to come in and start selling calls, selling calls, selling calls. They know the market maker is going to be shorting shares to hedge those calls that are being sold along with volatility. And so then they're going to short the stock too. And so then you've got volatility traders who are getting hedged by the market maker, are the market maker shorting the stock down at that point, because gamma is the perfect point. That's exactly that call wall. That's the spot that you want to be selling volatility, is right there if you're a trader, because that's where it maxes out, right? Okay, good chance of reversal right there. That's what happens. You'll see it line up too with stuff like RSI, which it did, right? We sort of shot up really quickly, right? Oh, do we have good RSI here? Let me see. If you pull up RSI, you'll see on this particular day. Oh, didn't I take a picture of it? Go to my page here. I didn't. I did it with mobile shops. But anyway, right? RSI went overbought, and I think we started riding that 2 standard deviation line up above VWAP. All those signals converged, and it was like, all right, we know we're probably not getting a ton of volatility going into January OPEX. Why do we know that? Well, this is what I've been talking about for a couple of weeks. January OPEX is probably not going to be, right? I know folks get excited about it, but because of 2021, but January OPEX, we got all of those GME warrants. They want to not have to deliver those. So all of this stuff, all of this context says going into January OPEX, we're probably not looking great. We're probably going to stagnate or go to the downside. Max Payne's telling us that. Call Gamma's telling us that, right? And yet we're moving up. We're at that position. That just screams to me, okay, basically take, stack stuff, split it up, because you don't know, you're never sure. Go some a little bit more risky, February 22s, a little bit less risky, February 25s, and just see what happens. And sure enough, I mean, that's as close to instant gratification as you get, to just see that midday reversal right there to the downside. We're down $1, right? We touched down. I mean, some of these, my options are already up. Some of these are already up like 30, 40% based on how they were priced, on the announcement earlier this week. So yeah. Mr. Databox has a good question here. He says, do you always sell right at the call wall, or do you ever go like $5 or $1 above it? Yeah, so for a while, I would say what I was doing back when premiums were a lot better, I was a little bit less risky. But you see what I did here in terms of, let's say I put half my position on February 22s, which is around where our call wall is now. It was at the time, and about half on 25s. Why? Well, I could be wrong, right? I could be wrong. There could be some volatility thing that happens, and okay, I'm not getting as much out of those options if I'm getting assigned, or let's say if I'm selling 25s versus 22s, because the 25s are, paying out maybe 50%, what be slightly less than 50%, maybe 45% of what the 22s pay out. But if there is some kind of a volatility event, and the whole position gets assigned, then I'd rather, at least some of those, I'd rather get assigned at 25 than get assigned at 22, right? So it's just kind of it's a short-term versus a medium-term kind of trade-off thing that I decided to do, kind of risk management sort of a thing. But yeah, for a while when we had much better premiums, I would find the call wall, and then was I selling at call wall? I don't know necessarily, unless I expected us to dump. If we were really close and we were kind of flirting with it, like if it was technically at 25, but we were like at 24 something, and we were really flirting with it, and I didn't think and I thought we were in a bullish season, and I thought we were going to go up, then I would do like weekly 30s. So like for our whole November run, basically into the beginning of that November to December 2024 run, I was selling like 25s, 25, 25, 25, 25, only 25s. And then I was like, okay, National Cat Day is coming. We got the National Cat Day, a little pop there. All right, now we're going to move up to 30s. And then it was 30s, 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 30, and 30 weeklies, right, to really walk that in close. And sure enough, all those worked out as well. Yeah. So sometimes I will go above it. If I think we're going to go into a really bullish cycle, I'll target stuff above where the call wall is, because I think we're going to go past it, right? That's one of those seasons where we might go past it. In fact, I did see a couple comments. Some people were talking about that. Yeah, Wally Wasper is talking about this. That's right. May 9. Why didn't I get assigned? May 9. Oh, I may have anchored it to OPEX. Okay, that's the other thing. Okay, so this is an important detail that I'm glad Wally added here. So the weeklies are a lot less stable than OPEX. Market makers, I think, because usually OPEX has a lot more contracts tied to it than weeklies do, preserving the integrity of a kind of maximum profitability with respect to OPEX seems to be a lot more important than weeklies. So weeklies, yeah, I think, for example, so for like that May 9, 2025 or something. If it was like you have here, right? 2350. That's if you see something like a weekly and it's down around 2350 or something. I'll generally try to look at both OPEX and the weekly and try to get a sense of, okay, here's what we're looking at. Keeping in mind that the composite and specifically, the OPEX one is going to be more important. I think more often than not, I will anchor. Maybe that's kind of the leader when I'm making a decision about where to actually place the trade. Those are both very, very high volatility periods. That's, these are June, May. These are big bullish upward movements. And it's, we go into these moments where that isn't as closely respected anymore. OPEX, it does hang in there. You'll notice that we still ended up, right? January OPEX 2025 still ended up below. We were below 30. Were we below 25? We may have even been below 25. Oh, is Duken running the wheel as well? Afghan says, I need a not advanced but intermediate options list, and I get the basics, just not the practical strategies or setups to be aware of. Yeah. I do a lot of it by feel. Like, I know I try to put this into words and have this make sense. But it's like a lot of the times I just look at it and I'll go like, oh, this is what I want. And then, I'll see it. Like this was a great week. This was a great week because I hope I was able to put this kind of clearly with my post over on X and with the video. And I was like, okay, I got right. I had a very clear vision of, oh my gosh, I've seen this setup before. I know exact right. I recognize likely what they are going to do. And so I tried to get that scenario out there and to outline that scenario as clearly as I could so that you could see that and go, okay, right, and realize, oh, hey, here are the options. Okay, right, I've got, here are my options. Here are the tools I can use. And why did I choose February's in that moment? Well, thinking about we're on this side of January OPEX. January OPEX is probably shielding us from a lot of potential upward volatility. So between that episode and the day after January OPEX, I don't have to worry about going over $22. There's more premium to come out of the stuff, right? The January contracts themselves don't have a lot of premium left in them, but the February ones do. There's more premium that can come out of those February options. If March were available, maybe I even would have done March, but March is still not on the board, I think. Nope, no March yet. We might have to wait until January OPEX comes and goes. Maybe we'll get a March weekly, but still not March OPEX. No March OPEX, no May OPEX. No August. Interestingly, September, yes. October, yes. December, yes. November, no. August, no. May, no. March, no. Interesting. So we've got next month, we've got quarterlies, April, June, October. Wait, no, April would be April, July would be quarterlies. June is a leap state. September is not, though, I think. I don't know why they have September there. Man, this whole thing's a mess. What can I say? Yes, Wedge. Are we cooked? Chat, are we cooked? Chat, what do you think? Am I cooked, chat? Are we cooked, chat? Riddle me this. Are we cooked? Anton Belev, I'm just getting to your comment now, but I think it's very much underrated. Anton says, GameStop should buy Raspberry Pi and start selling home do-it-yourself robot or do-your-itself robot. Sure. Let's do it. Dukin, I think this has to do with me talking about the Higgins boat. Righteous, man. Johto J-Day. Mod Retro was a passion project. Lucky was like modding old systems and running message boards for it. In the early internet days with love. A Lucky X Cohen. Yeah. Collab. For sure, man. For sure. Lucky's really cool. Yep. Hadouken, I'm with you. Berkshire used to be a textile company. GameStop, we used to be known as a video game retailer. That's right. I think that's right. Oh, what if we just do insurance? Maybe, right? Geico is the big deal there. What is Lemonade? What kind of insurance does Lemonade do? Clapped out 88 says, I think they buy some Baba. Yeah, he did that, right? He definitely he had Baba for a while. Does he still have his Baba position, or did he sell that for a profit? Mr. Databuck says, homeschool's the GOAT if your family can swing it. Yep. We homeschool and do once a week co-op, and our kids love it. Yeah, man, that'd be awesome. Who loves avocados as education? Children crave the mines. They crave the fiat mines. I'll just teach my kids to trade options, and that's it. They don't need to have life outside of options. Do you do French Montessori? Association Montessori Internationale. Char Chief liked Montessori school, was impressed. Yeah, gotta have the actual Montessori name on it. Yeah. Ooh, Wally says, "Oh, this is awesome, my dudes. I'm so happy. This makes me feel very good." Wally says, "Both me and my daughters have done Montessori. It's a very good system." That's great, man. I'm very excited to meet all y'all who have had such great experiences with these school systems that I'm very interested in. Oh, there you go. Am I? Yep. Got to make sure it's certified. Ooh, Johnny says Birdie's post maybe comes out this weekend. Maybe he waits till after OPEX like a gentleman. Maybe. C6, D6, C6 also went to a Montessori school. Very awesome. Great ones in the area. CT's pretty good on this front. This is it. We're just gonna hive mind all of the autodidacts with great like hand brain hand mind connection. It's gonna be great. We'll all go work for GameStop together. It's gonna be fantastic. Oh, nice. Master's kid is also going to a Montessori school. Straight up, dude. That's awesome. Dude. I was not part of Skull and Bones. I did not go. I did not. No, I was not a Yale undergrad. So only undergrads get to do that. The undergrads are the real. That's the flagship. They're the flagship ones. I just graded their stuff, and I did get to hang out with some undergrads sometimes. It's good times. Master says, when we look at the pay package for Musk in 2018, it was January. Tesla did sideways for quite some time before they actually took off. Let's take a look at that. My eyes are getting so dry. Why do I have such dry eyes? Weep not wet eyes. Isn't that like a Thomas Tallis song or something? Drop, drop, slow tears, and then all imparts. Da 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 da. Weep not wet eyes. Oh, this is GME. I want Tesla. Let's go back. Let's go back to the beginning. Back to when the earth, the sun, the stars all aligned. Let's go back. Let's go to weekly here. Back to the beginning. Oh, wow. Oh, then we started hockey sticking, right? Oh, I guess we already started hockey sticking like way before that, right? Man, Tesla started doing stuffs in 2013. Man, why was I just like, I don't know, being a doofus in college when like awesome stuff was happening? Yeah, so big rip here basically in 13. Peaked in 14. 1 year, big rip. We go from $2 to 20, so we 10x. Then whipsaw. It's then just down for all of 14, all of into March 15, April 15. Then go all the way back to our all-time high, close to our all-time high, mid 15. Then down for all of 15 into early 16, down to $10, right? Then we bounce back to 18, down again to 12. Long periods of stuff there. Okay. Then we rip again in 16, 26 and 17. Lots of chop, so much chop. Look at all this volatility, so much volatility. How to trade this. Oh my gosh, what's going on? It's not even flat. Like there was a lot of chop. But let's take a look. (2018), early 18. Actually, we were trading basically. Tesla was trading at around GameStop prices, right? So around $20. Actually, yeah, like right here, basically the same prices as Tesla. So June 17 was the peak of a really big run. Sold off $20 by July. Back to 26 October. Down in the November. Super bottom in November at 1950. Little recovery, 22-ish. Back down in December. December gets up to 23. January down to 20 and a half. Late January, we run back to 24. Early Feb, back down to 1950. Back up to 24, early March. And then into late March 2018, all the way down to 1660, down to 1630. Then sideways for basically all of the middle of 2018. Big run over the summer. Lots of volatility in here. But very range bound, right? Very range bound basically into late October. One kind of hurrah here. And then we just, for the whole of the first, let's see, from November 2018, December 2018 into June of 2019, 6 months of straight down for Tesla. And then absolute rip city late 2019, rip city into early 2020, cowabunga, then way down because of COVID, all the way back down to 23, then rip city part 2. Look at this thing. $20 to 120. Little cool off into August. And then rip again to 170. Stagnate for a few weeks. November, Thanksgiving. I remember this one. I traded this, actually. I traded this move, this piece from Thanksgiving into just before GameStop did its thing. Rip City. Cool off for a quarter. Rip City again. So that took 2.5 years to play out. And it had so much volatility. Like, these are big corrections. up to $300, correct all the way down twice to 180. Like, that's massive. That's the thing. I saw this post today where somebody was like, oh, if you invested $1 in Bitcoin, it would be a bajillion dollars today. And it's like, yeah, okay. But it's like, you do realize that every time Bitcoin, like you're telling me you went up, so you put in your dollar and then you're up 10,000%. And then you just hold and let that go down however many percent. Like you watch it all, you watch it go up to $800,000, and you watch it go all the way back down to $10,000, and then you watch it go all the way back to, now it's 10 million, and then it goes down to 1 million, and then it goes to 100 million, and now it's back to 3 million, and then it's like you're going to hold through all that. Very, very interesting to see. Very difficult to do that, but maybe we do. Maybe it takes some time for Tesla here, but I mean, that's cool. If it takes another year for us, that's another year we have to accumulate, another year to sell options, another year to work hard, save up some cash, and just fork it into this thing. Right? What's up, Obsessively Gaming? Thanks for live stream and video messages. Missing your spy insights. Yeah, let's take a look. We can do a little spy. Take a look at what Spy's doing. Why does it keep doing this? There we go. We're still chugging. We're right at the call wall here. Or I guess slightly above it. So probably going higher on SPY. Slowly, but probably doing it. Although we had a big expiry today. See what happens to that going forward. What's it look like? See SPY weekly PMO. What's that look like? We're doing okay. Might be correcting soon. These look like they might uncross here. I wouldn't be surprised if we got like a March correction or something. Something like that. What was what came of the tariff stuff? Supreme Court get upset or something? Do we figure that out? Just hearing things about oil companies in Venezuela spending. Oh, unemployment revised down. That's nice. Yeah, not sure. I think we probably, kind of slow, grindy thing, maybe going into March, and then if there are swaps or doesn't, I think JP Morgan has to like reposition its collar in March. That's around the time that everybody was all worried about the tariff stuff, started to get worried about the tariff stuff back then too, which I think may have had to have also had to do with COVID swaps, like 5-year COVID swaps or something. Not really tariffs. Yeah, Hadouken makes a good point here. Yeah, with options, you just need to jump in. Yeah. But I would say don't jump in with long stuff. That's the only thing I would exercise caution with, because single leg, unhedged, whatever, long options are structured for you to lose. But the opposite is not true. Soon, Guido, soon. Oh, Mrs. Guido did Montessori too. Man, so many Montessoris in here. That's awesome. I'm finding all the cool Montessori people. This is great. Mr. Databug says, are you saying monthly OPEX is generally more likely to respect the call wall than weeklies? Yes. Quarterlies even more so? Yes. The more important and the more options you have concentrated on a particular strike, particular expiry, the more likely I think it is that's going to respect the call wall. Master says, let's take note of what's missing OPEX wise. It'd be funny if by the end of 2026 we noticed that all those OPEXs were up cycles. Remember my chat cooked medium rare. Very good. What's up, Pro Styles? Gameshire, Stopaway in the house. For sure, man. Hey, what's up? Specific it's a specific notion, but specific notion like Pacific Ocean. Cheers, man. Just trying to do my best out here. That's all. I've experienced trying to make sense of this stuff that I experience on my side of the thing, and trying to share that with people who are trying to figure it out too. It was by grace that I came to some of the information that I had out here on the internet, figured out some of this stuff. So wouldn't have been able to figure it out myself without the support of others. So hopefully I can help some other folks figure it out too, because, I don't know. I think if you can free people, just, if that, let's say the cares of provision to a certain extent, I think that's where, especially when it comes to creative folks, and I think that when it comes to human beings, we all have, it depends what you mean by creative, but there is every human being has a capacity to be creative in some cases. Let's say, does that mean, technologically inventive? No, not necessarily. Does that mean poetically gifted or artistic? Is that everyone? No, that's not everyone in that sense. But I think everyone has the capability to bring forth increase for life upon the earth through creative means. And I think if you can show people ways that the game they're playing is actually, it's not a finite game. It's not a game of hyper restricted resources, that there's actually so much opportunity, that there's so much potential out there that they didn't even think to tap into. I think you completely change the way that they view themselves, the world, their lives, what they aim for, what they strive for. And I think you unlock that creative potential in them. And what seems to be the only thing that sustains civilization, that sustains species, that sustains life itself, is that infinite horizon, that infinite frontier, that boundless potential for discovery, and a life lived in pursuit of that creative purpose. So, if by sharing this information I can help people grasp, help people realize just how infinite that game is, I think that's something that will be better for the world. So I'm happy to do it. Lana says, homeschool's great for lower grades and preschool. Nice. The same during COVID. Glad we went to a real school. I don't know what you mean by real school, though. What do you mean by real? Maybe you can let us know. Oh, Alana says, oh, okay, so Alana didn't like Montessori. Okay. If your kids are not motivated, not gifted enough to learn on their own, everyone I know had to supplement their kids to be on par with kids. Okay. Well, sorry you didn't have a good experience with that. Shrimp Friday says, thank God for catalysts. Thank God for you, sir. Low-key have thought about it, not up for a move to Texas, though. Oh, I think I missed a comment that tells me what this pertains to. Oh, MOH. No, I missed this. I missed his post on MOH. Is it on Substack? He's got some on nuclear reactors, which is awesome. Talking about oil and stuff. And we shall see. Actually, I will have to look at the Tesla pay package in 2012. I'm not sure it was there. Rip City. Next Rip City is Optimus. Yes. Robots will populate Mars. Optimus will terraform Mars. Oh, nice. Obsessively Gaming also had a good experience with Montessori. Yeah, it's on the later side. It's 12. So I'm getting a little sleepy, but the chat is alive today. Decidedly uncooked. but cook in. So I want to make sure I have enough time for everybody's messages. What is this? Guido, what are you talking about, dude? Insight you were sharing today on GME price action. Blowing my mind right now. That's awesome, dude. I'm happy you're here. I'm always happy to see you. Yen made a new low today. Very interesting. Sony Boy Blues Power says that's why you average in, average out. Kitty used to say, keep your sanity when a stock gets ahead of itself or behind itself. It's good to trimmer ad. You watch Bitcoin go $1 to 10K, you sure will. Yeah, for sure. Nah, dude. This is not US Fanta, my dude. This is European Union Fanta. There is no red dye number 40 in this. This stuff this stuff comes out looking like orange juice. It is not all the ingredients are in Greek, unfortunately. Nero, okay, that's water. Ximos, portokaliou, apo sympokiomeno, kumo. Ah, that's juice. Kumo. Dioxidio anthraka. Don't know what that is. Citrico oxy. Okay, citric acid. Physiques, aromatiques, hules. Protocalium, ales, physiques, aromatiques, hules. So these are like aromatic materials. Hules, it's like wood, but material. Erythmistes, oxytetas, citrica, alata, natriu. Okay. Glucantica has something to do with sugar. Yeah, no dyes. They're definitely illegal. You can't put them in food. Sound like I'm doing a spell to summon Roaring Kitty. Yeah, man, it turns out he just responds to ingredient lists read in modern Greek. That's it. Yeah, that's how I avoid it. But all right. I think I will go to sleep. Like I said, there are a bunch of women in my house, so I don't know. That's gonna be my weekend, guys. So I'm about to be cooked when I see you guys beginning of next week. So thank you guys so much. Thanks for another great live stream. As always, I hope this is helpful for you guys. Looking forward to seeing what's around the corner for the company. Thinking maybe we get a little bit of action coming out of January OPEX. Maybe we see something going on with those FTDs. Still thinking things look pretty good going into January OPEX itself. Do not see us closing above $22. Happy to be proven wrong, but always, clip it and ship it to Mrs. Assistant. That's a thing to say. Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks a lot again. Look forward to seeing you guys next week. Enjoy your weekend and God bless as always. So we'll see you.